Good morning, grinders. Welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm still recovering. Still got a cough. I can't get that full force of that. Good. I'm gonna have to work on that.
That wasn't your best work, Blender.
No,
that was
it
not
wasn't.
your best
it
work.
Wasn't. I need to work. I need to work up. I need some rehab starts before I can go out and give my full pitch count. But welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderHD, BlenderHD. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Tuesday, March 19th. We'll be taking a look at the 13-game NHL slate. That Tim is opining over that it's too large. It's too big. It's too big for Tim, one of our premium NHL contributors, as well as NBA contributors, as well as everything. He's always active in the Discord, the best place to get your NHL news, information. It's free. I don't know why it is free, but you can go there. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Dane's in there. Taylor's in there. Everyone's in there. 13 games. I'm gonna ask you the question that Felix in Discord asked. Is Nashville 1 going to be about 40% owned on a 13-game slate?
I really highly doubt that. Not going to be that highly owned. Yes, they'll come in with ownership, but not going to be 40%. There's so many good spots on this slate. Ownership's going to get really, really spread out. So I think 40%.
Do you really think No, I don't think so. I think there are two clear spots that people are going to be attracted to. I think the problem with this slate, issues-wise, is that I think that the expensive stuff isn't going to be as popular as you think it is.
Okay.
I think the top tier, as far as ownership is concerned, is going to be Nashville, Power Play 1, and especially Power Play 1 because, like, let's take a look at Nashville. Obviously, you get Nyquist, O'Reilly, and Forsberg, but I think there may be more people that plug in an Evangelista or something like that to reduce the expense of this stack. Maybe play Josie even instead of Forsberg or something like that. Like, I think Nashville Power Play 1 is, Felix is like, is it going to be 40% owned? No, but I think it'll be one of the higher owned. I could see Philip Forsberg being 18 to 22% owned on the slate. I could see some of these guys being the high teens on the slate, but I could also say the same thing for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Against Anaheim. Because, I mean, to me, I think these are the two clear spots, but neither, I mean, Forsberg's 8,400, Kaprizov's 9,100. These aren't like cheap, but you got Hartman there at 5,500. You got Faber there at 5,000 for the Power Play 1. You could even play Zuccarello, I guess. It's going to be tough to play Boldy, Kaprizov, and Hart without like going to, what TJ does on this show and goes Dollar General and just goes
Dollar General. Yeah, I watched your show last time. I thought that was pretty funny. I never heard that before. That was the first show I heard watched you guys on. I thought that was great. So well, I certainly hope that somehow Philip Forsberg is more highly owned than Leon Draisaitl, because I'll tell you what, I'd much rather play Leon Draisaitl at 8K than 8,400 for Philip Forsberg. Not that Forsberg is not a great play. I'd rather save the 400 and play Draisaitl. I think they will both be fairly highly owned. I agree with you. Minnesota, Kaprizov, Boldy, Hartman, Faber, Zuccarello, that whole Minnesota Power Play 1 is going to show some ownership. But that, this is why I don't think Nashville 1 is going to be 40%, because there are plenty.
Well, I think 40%. I think Felix is not.
Well, what about 30%? I don't think they're going to be 30%.
No.
No.
But I think Nashville and Minnesota are going to be the two highest owned stacks. Edmonton is in a great spot also, obviously against Montreal at home. The issue with Edmonton is price. Like, yeah, I love playing Draisaitl as a one-off. Now he's playing on the second line as well as the power play 1 unit. It just, good luck playing Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman in a lineup. I mean, you're going to Salvation Army for the rest of your lineup. I mean, what would you Dollar General? It's like I don't like doing those lineups where I'm paying so much for a 3 or 4 man from an expensive team and then having to play like some garbage third line non-power play unit type of thing and just hope that line scores a goal and then hope that the Oilers score like 8 goals today. I just don't like those types of situations. So that's why I look at this and I go Connor McDavid, Nate, Colorado against the Blues, right?
Right.
Pushkin is back. But I mean, play like McKinnon. I mean, now these guys are getting a little like Rantanen isn't as good for his price at 8,200 compared to a Forsberg, Kaprizov, a Draisaitl, because Nichushkin's back and he's $7K. I think he's overpriced. But like, McKinnon, like if you play McKinnon as a one-off, I mean, I just take a look at all the good spots, except for maybe one, are just you're gonna have to pay for them. Like there's gonna be an expense like New Jersey, the Devils. Like if you're gonna play the Devils, you're probably you're paying 8,600 for Jack Hughes. So like
I think New Jersey too was a really, really strong play. I know we're talking about expensive, but I mean that Lazar, Mercer, Meyer line, 2 out of those 3 guys are on the PP1. They're ranking out very well in our points per dollar projections. So I think New Jersey 2 as a value line is a super, super strong play today. I ran 100 optimals before I got on the show, and that little Mercer Meyer 2-man's popping quite a bit. And I can understand why. So, but yeah, I agree with you. Like the New Jersey 1 is pretty expensive, but I think New Jersey 2 is a very, very strong play.
It's New Jersey 2 with Mercer and Meyer.
Yes,
that would be the type of lineup where you could play Minnesota, full Nashville, Maine, Edmonton. You wouldn't be able to play all of them, but most of them. I'm looking at, like, to me, the spot that I like the most for the price, but it's a team that it's one of those teams that they score 7 goals and you don't get it right. The LA Kings against the Blackhawks. Kemp is back. I think it's 6K. I think I like line 1. I like line 2. I like the entire power play unit. I like
I like
Byfield, all these guys. The problem is that I play Fiala and Trevor Moore scores. I play Kopitar and Denault gets 3 assists, and Dubois is the one, and Ferrier has like. I like the fact that now that LA is playing a little bit more condensed, at least on the power play. That I'm much more inclined to play line 1, right, players together than line 2. But these guys I mean, like, no one's expensive. I mean, like, Kemp is the most expensive guy on the team, and he's 6K. And to mix and match these people together, I could play a McDavid one-off if I want. I mean, I could play other stuff. With these lineups.
Yeah. I was getting to a lot of New Jersey and a lot of LA when I was building out optimals earlier. If you're building out, say, 5, 6 or more teams tonight, you better be getting exposure to LA. This is such an amazing matchup, such amazing prices. Like, I can't promise that I know which line is going to, dominate, in terms of goal production. But if it happens to be, line 3 and you happen to have, the high-end Minnesota guys or the high-end Edmonton guys, you're going to win the slate. If it happens to be that line 3, or if you go more balanced and you go line 1 with some of the mid-range Minnesota guys like Boldy and Zuccarello and Faber or something like that, like That's another way that you could build. That's why I really like LA, because who you can pair them with can really vary depending on which stack you use. So like, you could go on the cheap end with LA3, and then you could go stars and scrubs with LA3, or you can go more balanced with LA1. And then of course you have Kevin Fiala on LA2, who is way too cheap at 5,900. He's gonna, he dominates the usage on that line, and he gets exposure to PP1. So you could do like a contrarian or more contrarian, like PP1 stack, leave off like Byfield, go, Kopitar, Kempe, Fiala, something like that, and leave off Byfield. Just get, a different way of stacking that team. There's so many different ways that you can go with LA. And it's such a good matchup that they are a very, very tough fade. If you're making multiple teams, they're a very tough fade. They're a very tough fade if you're playing any format, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it's easy to make a lot of combinations, but it's also easy to make combinations and then not make the right combinations for when they score. My attitude with LA is that if I had to prioritize any one or two players, is that if I'm going to play 3 or 4 guys from LA, one of them will be either Kempe or Fiala.
Right.
One of them will be. To me, it doesn't make much sense to play like Kopitar, Dubois, like playing 2 centers and Byfield.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Definitely do not do that.
Because to me, like Kempe, Moore, and Fiala are those are the guys that they could show up with a hat trick.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
And certainly in the
Kopitar is more likely to have 3 assists than 3 goals. Right. Yes. But I'm looking like, if I'm getting a 2-man, I'm playing like Fiala +1 or Kempe +1, or even more, like more Fiala. I don't even mind that. Something like that on the Kings. And then you have LaFerriere down there at 2,900. He's a cheap little one-off that you could always throw into any lineup. He has no floor, but I mean, he can score a goal off the third line.
And just so everybody knows, Victor Arvidsson has been skating. He's getting closer and closer to returning, so that's something to keep an eye out for. He is 6K. We're kind of leaning that he's not going to play, but he could come back, and he would be another really good part of this arsenal of weapons against this awful Chicago team. So
where would he come back? I mean, if Arvidsson came back, is he just? I mean, I just take a look at the lines. Like, where would he go?
So he was skating on the 4th line. I don't think that's where he would end up. He would, first of all, it would take them from 11 forwards to 12 forwards, because LA plays 11-7. Okay, it would kick off Lafreniere, I believe, off of PP2. So he'd play PP2. Who he'd play at 5-on-5 with? Maybe line 3. I'm not really sure. Maybe they bring him back on line 4. I'm not positive, but I mean, he's a highly talented player. So he's 6K in a vacuum. That's pretty cheap also. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. Again, I don't think he's going to come back for this game, but I can't be positive of that. He is skating. Is
there anything else that we have to look out for today? I mean, I see. I mean, there's not much activity in our Discord, because typically, Dane's in there posting, morning skate news and all that stuff. It just feels like,
right.
I mean, other than confirming goalkeepers, I mean, is there anything that we're really waiting on that will drastically change projections?
I don't think anything that would drastically change it. I'm looking at some healthy scratches, but they're all guys that are irrelevant really for DFS. So I know that Dylan Larkin's getting close to returning, but I do not think he will be returning this evening.
So what do you think? How about the Red Wings? I mean, I played the Wings last week in a similar. Maybe was it the same game? Are they playing? Did they play Columbus last week? They played some garbage team. Maybe it was like Anaheim or something like that. But
I know they played Buffalo. I can't remember I can't
maybe
remember
it was Buffalo. Whatever.
Columbus.
I mean, they did okay, but like they spread out that. I mean, their units a lot also, but from a cheapness perspective, I mean, play like Perrin or Raymond. I'm not even saying to even play like Kane at 6,400 or like play 4 power play 1 guys, but 2 guys. I mean, to me, I put them in the same bucket, maybe a little bit lower than the like Mercer Meyer on the Devils.
Right.
Like they're a little bit cheaper. Like playing JT Compher is a one-off. Playing Robbie Fabry, a Fabry Raymond 2-man or something, playing Cider and Perrin, or like it feels like the Red Wings, albeit not a very good team. Columbus is a way worse team. Like just one of those teams where I target that I look to see who's playing Columbus, and it's a 13-game slate, and how many people are itching to play the Red Wings as home favorites? Not many.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they do have a 3.75 implied team total, which is very, very solid. I mean, and Columbus is one of the worst defensive teams in all of hockey. So I have absolutely no issue getting exposure to Detroit. I might look at that kind of like Perron, Raymond 2-man, 3.9 and 4.6. That's a really, really affordable, really good. It's going to be contrarian 2-man. Of course, you could add Kane to that too. So yeah, I mean, you absolutely can play Detroit. That was one of the teams I was looking at first, thinking they might be popping in optimals, and they're really not. So their ownership should stay relatively low, and their implied team total is quite strong.
Last week, Tim, they had a very similar team total, similar spot, and I played. I mean, I think I played 20 lineups last week or whatever. I thought they would be high. I thought they would be higher owned, and it was like 11-game slate. I mean, they came in like these guys, came in at like 2.5% owned, 3%. Like, of course, they didn't do enough. I mean, they all got there, but didn't get a flame emoji, so they didn't get a 0. So it's like they contributed to my lineups, but I was just kind of shocked that they had like maybe the 5th highest team total on the slate, and they're cheap, and no one seemed to wanted to play them. So
honestly, I think I think that will happen tonight. I think when we flip over the cards, we'll see Detroit at like 3, 4, 5%. Like not much ownership at all. So I think they're really, really strong tournament play.
Jets Rangers, is this like, to me, I look at this game and I just like move along. Is this the move along game?
All I'd say about this game is that I really like how Nikolai Ehlers is playing. I think he's got a really, really nice shot floor. He's only 5.9. I think he'd make for an interesting one-off. I think he's got a ceiling at that price. So that would be the only... I'd be like picking at pieces. In terms of full stacking, I agree with you. You could move on. But I really like Ehlers. I kind of like Toffoli too. That line too for Winnipeg, I think, is decent. And it's kind of a contrarian way of like getting off of similar price players like guys from the Kings. So I think Winnipeg too is somewhat interesting, but yeah, not somebody that I'm really jumping at the bit to play.
Toronto, Philadelphia. Obviously, Austin Matthews, any slate could score a million goals, right?
Yep.
Clear. I like the fact, I mean, I don't like the fact that Toronto has like mixed up everyone. Again, like it's very hard to get correlation on both even strength and power play, but their power play 1 is much cheaper than it used to be, right? Because Liljegren is on it instead of Riley, and Bertuzzi's on it. So like getting and Tavares is now on line 3, but he's only 5,900. They may not be the greatest of values, but I could see playing some Toronto. I don't see them really being own much. And honestly, I don't think it's insane to take a shot on Philadelphia's power play 1 unit against Toronto.
I was glad you said that, because I don't really have much interest in Toronto's power play because Philly has a great penalty kill. So I'm glad that you mentioned Philadelphia's power play, because I actually have more interest in that Frost, Konechny, Tippett line. Just as potential GPP darts. I think this is a pretty interesting spot for them at home. Samsonov is not like a goalie that I'm afraid to attack. So I have quite a bit of interest in that Philly 1 stack. I mean, I'm only playing maybe 3 teams, so I probably won't get the Philly 1. But if I'm spreading out, playing more teams, definitely. Toronto, on the other hand, it would be more one-offs for me, like Matthews, because he could go really for 40 DK points. He could score 3 goals and have an assist and break the slate by himself. So, but I'm not really looking to lean into that Toronto power play.
Another team that we like attacking are at Ottawa. I don't think I have much interest. I don't think I have much interest in Ottawa, the Ottawa side.
No,
but Boston, I'm not sure about play. I mean, from a value perspective, not a big fan of how they have their lines set up. With Heinen on line 1 now and Coyle on line 2, and their power play 1 is like a little all over the place. I feel like I could see myself playing a Pasternak. Obviously, you could play David Pasternak as one-off or anything. But even like someone like Jake DeBrusk at 4,400, or even Coyle, like the line, I don't know about Marchand at 6K, and say for Zacha at 4,700. It feels like Boston. It feels like Boston should put up 5 goals here. The question is that how much is it worth to you, and who do you play? Like, if it doesn't go all through Pasternak, he's not going to be worth it at 9,500. But some of these cheaper guys, like Jake DeBrusk, getting a goal and a shot bonus or something like that. I mean, at 4,400, 20 points is gold. But even getting 16 out of that is great. I mean, like, I'm just looking at kind of some of these cheaper guys. But you can't say that Boston is not in a good spot. And I'm not sure how many people are really going to. That's why early in the day, early in the show, you're like, oh, I think everything's going to be spread out. It's like, I'm not really sure. I think some of these higher end teams are going to be much lower owned than you think, because you look at this and you do exactly what I do. And I go, I think I'd just rather play Nashville. I think I'd just rather play Minnesota. I think I'd just rather play something else than try to figure out what to do with Boston.
True. Yeah, no, that is a good point. I would say that Pasternak is probably my favorite like individual skater on the slate. Like if I'm playing cash games or single entries, like I think Pasternak's probably my favorite. Even over like McDavid, even over Kaprizov. It's obviously super close, but like if I'm building, just a single entry, I might just one off Pasternak, because I know Boston's going to produce against Ottawa. I know that Pasternak's going to produce. So I feel very, very confident in that. Hopefully he doesn't get steamed up too much, and then people want to like lean on Kaprizov. But Pasternak's my favorite like individual spend up on the slate today.
Carolina against the Islanders. Is this one of these move along games, other than the fact that probably Sorokin's going to be one of the more owned goalkeepers? Although Tim, I know someone mentioned, maybe it was you that mentioned it last week. If you take a look at the past like month or so, like the Islanders aren't giving up as many shots as they used to give up. Because I've been targeting teams against the Islanders when I play, so I tend to see what the shots look like, and I don't know, it feels like to me the past month that he's not even getting like 30 save opportunities.
Yeah, but I believe it was
long-term form. Yeah, I mean, And also, it's not like are Carolina really a volume shooting team anyway? It feels like this could be a spot where Sorokin is way more owned than he. I know goalkeeper on a 13-game slate, like a high-owned goalkeeper is like 12% owned. So it's not like that big of a deal, but it just feels like Sorokin just maybe over until the short-term, form gets factored more into like models. I think Sorokin may be a little over projected.
Yeah, so since the Islanders coaching change, they've suppressed shots really well. That could just be small sample. I don't really know. But Carolina is a high volume shooting team. They're ranked third in shots on goal for the season overall. So they are.
How come whenever I play the Carolina Hurricanes, it seems like none of my guys get shots?
Because they are so deep. They are 4 lines deep, so they really spread out their production. They spread out their power plays. They're one of the best real life teams in hockey, in my opinion. But Sorokin is going to get owned today. There's no question about it. The other thing is, it's kind of funny. New York the Islanders have the worst penalty kill in all of hockey. And Carolina has one of the best power plays in all of hockey. So this could be an interesting kind of contrarian stat going Carolina 1. But I don't know. It's always scary doing anything with Carolina because they are so deep.
I'm much more likely to take like a one-off Jarvis, Nekus, Svechnikov, like the goal scorer types. I just hope that they get 2 goals and just like, okay.
Yep.
Okay. What else do we have to talk about? We talked a little bit about these teams, a little bit about that. Is Buffalo, Vancouver more of a walk by type of thing? Maybe Alec Touch, whatever. You know my pronunciations. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tuck. Yeah.
Right. Bowen Byram is that they finally moved up to past 4K. So I don't know if he's like on a lock and load. Although he's still, he's obviously still playable.
4.2 is not bad, really. I always seem to have interest in Vancouver just because they have a really, really strong top 6. I love Quinn Hughes. So Buffalo is kind of overachieving, I think, lately. But that's just, I can't quantify that, right? They do have a high implied team total, 3.6. That's more than LA. That's higher than LA's total. So
but they're more expensive than LA. That's the difference.
True. Yeah. No, yeah. Of course. Yeah. But I mean, they're not super expensive. They're not like Edmonton or Minnesota or Colorado. So I think they do have a legitimate upside. So I never mind getting to Vancouver, really, in a GPP.
Based on our projections, I wouldn't mind like a Brock Boser one-off.
Sure.
You need that for 6,200 or something. Even Elias Lindholm, like you could pair like a power play 1. I guess I don't. Truthfully, most of the season I've not been playing the Canucks, just price wise. But you can't say they don't have a ceiling. So it's like
that's
for the median standpoint, they may not project as well, but they could easily come out and score 7+ goals.
Yeah.
Here's a team that could score 7+ goals. The Tampa Bay Lightning against the Vegas Golden Knights.
I don't.
From a median standpoint, I don't think many people are playing Kucherov today with Pasternak there and Draisaitl and Kaprizov. But they're the Lightning and they could score a bunch of goals. I typically don't play much in Vegas either, how they spread it out. With their prices, if these prices came down a little bit.
Yeah, road matchup.
I don't want to call this a stay away game, but I wouldn't mind playing like Anthony Cirelli one-off in the center spot or something, or Duclair, like one of the cheaper guys.
So personally, I would call this a stay away spot. A road matchup against Vegas. I've never seen Kucherov projected that low. I mean, that's really low, and I don't fault it at all. So, I would stay away from this game personally. I have no interest on either side.
How about the goalkeepers?
Vasilevsky is always viable. He's kind of had a bad year, but he is a great goalie overall. I guess Aiden Hill at 7.8 is okay, but I think this game's going to be pretty non-eventful. So you're really going to have to make sure that you're on the winning side of it, because you're not going to get a lot of volume, in my opinion.
So if you wanted to go for, I know goalkeeper. My attitude with goalkeeper is it's a variance fest. Close your eyes, pick whatever. I mean, like, it's not a big, like, if you look at the projections, like, every goalkeeper is within like 2 points of each other. Like, no matter what the price, obviously the ones that have more win probability have a little bit more points. But if you wanted to, in single entry, you're going to take the flyer on a cheap goalkeeper, knowing that it could be -3, right? That's all. You're always taking that. You're hoping that they get enough saves to make up the fact. What is the cheap goalie flyer for you, at least?
I would probably go. Well,
if you don't count Sorokin as the cheap goalkeeper,
like, don't count him.
To me, I look at, like, to me, Hellebuyck against the Rangers.
Yeah.
7,300.
Yep.
Hellebuck. Why is it not Hellebuyck? Hellebuyck?
It's Hellebuck.
Hellebuck. What's the Y doing there?
I don't know.
DJ Gibson against Minnesota and just hope that Minnesota.
I mean, that is like that's a hyper gamble. But
Binnington against the Avalanche.
Yeah, that's another one. Gonna get a ton of volume. You're gonna get a ton of volume from Colorado, a ton of volume from Minnesota. So I mean, yeah, they do probably have solid, save floors, but they're gonna give up a lot of goals too, most likely. So
right, but I mean, everyone at Corona, Mrazek, Montembeault, I mean, all these guys.
Oh, Tristan Jarry at 75, I think, is interesting. I think he'd be interesting, even though I like New Jersey. It's very, very hard.
Yeah, but these aren't very cheap goalkeepers, Tim. These, like, I don't. That's why I said. So I mean, these are at least matchups. What I'm talking about, like taking the teams that are like projected to score the most goals, and it's like you can't play all these teams. So it's like if you're playing Minnesota, right? If you're playing Minnesota power play 1, you're probably not playing Edmonton in that lineup at all. So playing Montembeault in that lineup would make more sense, because you want Edmonton to fail in order for you to win. So I'm looking for those types of situations where, like, a lot of people may play Merzlikins because they're not going to play Detroit. But I'm going to play Detroit, and I'll play Detroit plus Edmonton. And in that type of lineup, I want to play John Gibson because I'm hoping Minnesota fails because they're popular. I'm playing Corona against Nashville because they're going to be 20% owned. Like, that's kind of like the game that I try to play at cheap goalkeeper, of like, it's really more correlated to the type of line. Like, I will, even when I play single entry 3-max stuff and I have 5 or 6 lineups, I have no problem playing a lineup with Minnesota and then the Montreal goalkeeper, and then playing an Edmonton lineup with the Anaheim goal. Like I'm not rooting for all 6 of my lineups to do well at the same time. I'm just rooting for a ceiling result from one of my lineups. Right. And if this lineup fails, it's more likely that the goalkeeper in this lineup actually gets 35 points. What do I care? Because I'm not playing Minnesota guys in this lineup. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at these cheap. That's my thinking, at least, for the cheaper goalkeepers.
A couple nights ago, I got 4th in the 444, and I played a super chalky offensive team, so I knew I had to get different at goalie. So I played a a 2% goalie, right? So chalky skaters, super contrarian goalkeeper, like that's what I did. Then you could do the reverse. You could go, contrarian skaters with a chalky goalie, right? It's like you could do that too.
But the amount of variance at goalkeeper, I almost don't even care what the ownership.
Well, honestly,
no goalkeepers ever to be that owned that I have kept to care that much about ownership.
Honestly, I usually play whoever I land on, unless it's the super chalky goalie. Like that's basically what I do.
Right. You fill out that position last.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. If very similar to how I built high-end built soccer lineups, you plug in the cheapest goalkeeper first, you build your lineup, and you go, oh, okay, I have 700 left over, and you just take the 700, you go to goalkeeper and go, what's the $4,200 goalkeeper? They're done. That's it.
That's usually what I do in football most of the time with defense.
Right.
Yeah, that's usually what I do in football also.
We got 10 more days, 9 more days for baseball. Are you excited for baseball, Tim?
Super excited. Yeah, baseball and hockey are my two favorites.
Well, we're going to be covering it, Tim. I mean, when you come on the Tuesday show until maybe half hockey, half baseball.
Yeah, we can talk both. I'd love to. Yeah.
And you're also on basketball stuff as well. All right, Grinders Live. We got some basketball games today, right?
Yeah, I'll be on Crunch Time later with Keith, I believe, and Roth.
So tune into that later, 5 o'clock Eastern for Grinders Live, 6:15 Crunch Time. We're doing Freebie Friday. Okay, so Freebie Fridays, like we were spinning the wheel last week. There was that we had wheel issues, we had access issues, whatever. But the Freebie Friday this week that everyone will get is SimLabs. So on Friday, if you wake up in the morning on Friday, you're going to be able to use SimLabs for your Friday, well, not PGA lineups, for NBA. I'm assuming MLB will be back, next week. We'll have SimLabs available for that. So on Friday, for Freebie Friday, everyone out there, regardless if you're premium or not, will be able to use SimLabs or at least play around with it for free. Okay. Normally we'll spin the wheel. Like on most Tuesdays, we'll spin the wheel, but the wheel is under construction, I guess. Right? The wheel needs to be oiled. I don't know. The wheel is broken. The wheel's broken. So we're just saying SimLabs, right?
SimLabs is awesome. I've been using it a ton. I can't wait for it for baseball.
Oh, for baseball, it's gonna. Well, you don't even have to use Lineup HQ anymore for baseball.
Right.
The only thing about like SimLabs for NBA is that correlation isn't as important in NBA. So you could, the way that at least from my experience, I could build the same plus EV lineups in Lineup HQ as I could in SimLabs. Baseball, much different. Right. Baseball, no. I'm much more likely to be able to just type in and then pick my stacks. Just go right. You could build multiple 150 sets, and I could export them into my own tools, and then just go and then get all whatever diversification that I want out of whatever stack.
It's so fast too. It works so quickly.
Yeah, I think my MLB DFS process is going to end up being like about 7 minutes long.
Right. That doesn't surprise me.
Right. Yep. And also it's the type of thing where unless there's like a late scratch, some type of pitcher thing, like you could kind of build your lineups and be done. Like that's it.
Right.
You don't have to sit at the computer or anything. Right. Just 7 minutes, I'm done and I'm out. I'm gone. I'll wake up in the morning and see what happens. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Tomorrow, Eric Beinfor's on. I'm assuming we're going to be talking about NCAA stuff.
He is super sharp. He's super sharp college basketball. I tail a lot of his picks on Scores and Odds, and he is really, really good.
So, I have no idea what's going on with the the brackets or not. I don't.
He'll tell you. He will tell you.
Just do whatever he says. That's what I
yes.
do.
Yes.
Okay. Literally.
I don't say that about everyone, but I'd say that about him for sure.
Okay, so don't do whatever you say about NHL, but do whatever he says about
do whatever Eric says about yes, definitely. Yep.
Okay, well we'll see what happens. See what happens tomorrow. And then we got NHL, more NHL on Thursday, MMA on Friday. We got baseball coming back next week. So sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. You get all the projections. You get, that's every day baseball, right? Get projections, ownership, premium content, value rankings, expert surveys, all the, the breakdowns of everything. So sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. And I'll be back tomorrow talking about all things you're thinking about. The daily fantasy, props, and pick 'em on RotoGrinders Today.